Okay, let's talk these transits, astrological transits, whatever you want to call it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. As you can see, that's an interesting song. So, as you can see, I'm in the process of creating. Um, how could I position this? Okay, y'all bear with me. I'm eating, painting. I don't know. A lot of these transits, I wouldn't say have me in a frenzy, but I can see why it can have a lot of people in a frenzy simply because if anything, my opinion on a lot of these transits, and it sounds like this because I got the paintbrush in my mouth because I'm trying to grab something to make this stand up. Let's see if that works. Oh my, the boy is genius. So, transit talk. Giving y'all I love making videos and doing this. So for one, Chiron supposedly just entered. Chiron just entered Taurus, and what I realize the spiritual community is being cleansed of, especially with this astrological shit, because it's so much egoic things that are being passed around to be brought to the awareness of why these transits, while life in itself teaches you the importance of knowing thyself. Just so much even projected around how certain things are going to affect people, what's going to come up for them. Like, no one knows this shit directly. You don't know that. Specifically for that person. It's truthfully like what they soul came here to do, accomplish, fulfill, and so forth. You know, a lot of people, like, I don't know what it's going to bring up for a lot of other people. I know where I'm at. That's why I realized the importance of even me. Like, I was sitting here, like, even the authenticity of me still keep going, even through all of this shit. I will say that if those who do pay attention to these transits, that I feel like Uranus, if anything, in Taurus prepared me for Chiron and Taurus. I'm not saying like I'm no guru or professional at the astrology thing at all. I just know how it affects me and what resonates with me. You know, to where I'm not too focused on like so much of how it affects me. It's a lot of things really just reveal how you respond to it. How you even like energetically gonna respond to whatever it is that's happening. And as you can see, this is my response to it no matter what comes up for other people. What could I do to change that narrative for people? Nothing. I'm over here trying to perfect some lines on some shit that's almost seems impossible in a way because it's it's such a challenge because you can't see the ridges in this, and this is also something that you actually put on I think it's like the backdrop thing for a housing. No, what do you call this? The backdrop for like the kitchen or something. So this was all white. Not to mention, it's just it. To me, I feel like a lot of things right now are really still going to show, no matter the transit. It's still going to reveal people's integrity, people's character. And then a part of the transits is a part of character development, your evolution. This is why I'm gonna realize like how important it is to not stay stuck on stuff because other people are. And then when you think about the fact of how most of humanity are influenced by other shit, they don't even really know how to think for their fucking self as it is. We're coming out of a space individually of people thinking for us. So for one, a lot of these transits are here so that it awakens more people of that caliber that is here to actually be supportive in ways and also resistance, and that resistance could be in so many different ways. It's just like me talking about, how people could become or have all these what y'all call riches in the material, and I don't have to agree with it simply because of just how much you realize like the world can actually be supported in so many different ways other than people hearing about who becomes the next billionaire or trillionaire. Okay, the awareness around that for me is like, I don't care to need to know that. There's mouths out here that needs to be fed, and I feel like the Chiron and Taurus is going to highlight a lot of that. I was picking up on earlier how the judgment is coming to people in so many ways. So many ways of like highlighting how many people are actually hindering the generations to come. Mentally, emotionally, financially. And this is a part of balance being restored. So I can see Chiron and Taurus definitely want to highlight that. And it's so funny how you hear about certain people becoming, whether a billionaire or trillionaire. And Divine was like, listen, there ain't nothing that hasn't been allowed that wasn't by the Divine's doing. No matter how much people try to accumulate, you're still not bigger than the program. And what is that shit even gonna mean if you empty inside, or you just a fucking robot, or part of just trying to distract people with what you have materialistically? Easily distract those who are on that focal point or focus of anyway what someone else has, what should be the least of your concern, or so much of how, it affects everyone involved, to be able to see that bigger picture of, awareness around that. I feel like that's why I realized, like, again, Chiron is really going to reveal a lot of, if you research, like I said, I can see the awareness in a lot of things, but also I do my best not to absorb as I would before or get so caught up in stuff, because just focusing on myself, and as you can see what I'm creating, everyone's not focused on the bigger picture for the generations to come. That's why I said a lot of judgment is going to come around that. It's really being attentive and seeing okay, Squirrel, what the problem is? Squirrel want to chime in. But again, just the awareness around the foundations, I will say. And when you think about foundations, because Taurus energy is, people associate it so much with material, but it also has a lot to do with internal foundations and external foundations. So it's not just this one-sided thing, how so much has been perverted or manipulated. It's much more than that. That's why you're gonna see it. Like, you're gonna see people come into certain things, but all of that can be just a mere distraction of you focusing on your own fucking wealth, your spiritual currency. You know how some people say, "Oh, it can be an inspiration to some people," but then again, some people say, "Well, how much do you need?" And I can see that. Like, how much do you need? I sometimes wonder, like, dang, like, who you planning on feeding? What you planning on doing with all that shit? So, I've been in so much of a deep reflection. Man, Squirrel, what is it, dude? You want to come over here and do this shit while I'm making a video? Your mate calling or something? I think you want a camo. What do you call it, cameo? But anywho, you just gotta stay focused through all this shit. And realize, like, it's not so much about obtaining what someone else has or similarly. These transits, again, is going to, it doesn't matter who has what, it's still a frequency. It's still a vibration. It's still eventually going to expose the intentions of people, what their motives are, what their hidden motives are. And then now things are more so leaning towards the collective and the people. So, people are just bringing more attention to themselves in such a way to where I don't honestly think it's really much going to matter, because I feel like it's really an exposure around the greed or and so forth. Because honestly, I don't even know if people even have what they have. That's why I think it's so funny from all of this. I don't even honestly. How do I know that this person is worth? Not even just worth. A lot of shit be inspiring me to realize, like, some people get suckered into that shit with, oh, such and such, did you hear about such and such? Man, he just became, like, they get so excited around someone else, like, but their own. And I feel like that's what a lot of Chiron and Aries is going to reveal too, a deep insecurity around that. Because to even compare is utterly ridiculous, because you don't know. I've always tell people, you don't know what and how people came into what they come into. And my darling, you do not sometimes want to know, or your mind is not even ready to comprehend a lot of the wickedness or what people even get themselves into when it comes to these things. When it comes to otherworldly influences and shit like that, shit make you think about movies. At the same moment, again, it's not really much gonna matter because these are moments to really, when these things do come about, focus on yourself. What are you building? What does your wealth look like? What is built towards your world? Because whatever people are building, it's their world. Shit. Don't nobody own Earth. All that shit around, all that bullshit be around. Oh, the elite. I'll be like, bro, there is a cosmic elite. There is something greater than all this shit that always intervenes. Just like the movies will tell you, every time motherfucker intervene, and it's not on no heroic shit. It's just more so on like divine justice. Sit your ass down. You don't really got the big head. You must have forgot. You obviously must have forgot. We sent you down here on some shit, but yeah, I'm gonna need you to sit your ass down. I'm gonna need you to realize, like, there's other forces that play that ain't even finna allow none of that to happen. Like I tell y'all, like, people, they can come into whatever it is, but it's only to really, it's always gonna get exposed for what the root meaning behind it is. And that's the beauty of these transits. It's like, no matter what, that's why it pays. Like, where your attention goes, it's so great to know that you building something in authenticity. Because while other people come into whatever it is and while the world is distracted, you have to build upon your shit. Fuck. Like, all that other shit really be a distraction for real. Even relationships. I told myself so much, like, I've been realizing now, being so committed more than ever. Like, am I supposed to stop? You could die today, baby girl or boy. You know what I'm saying? Think about relationships. Hey, motherfucker can leave today. What are you gonna do? How are you preparing? While everybody out here distracted, what are you preparing for the generations to come? So what if motherfuckers supposedly got all this other stuff? Man, I know exactly why a lot of stuff happening. Like I said, they can become trillionaires or billionaires, and y'all don't even know the energy that's collapsing around that shit. So much is finna be exposed. And again, these players, these characters, man, please. If you get distracted by somebody else's riches or something, that was all part of the game plan. All a part of the game, Pit. All a part of the game. I tell you, that's a part of another distraction to keep people so focused on, like, so some I realized, like, I became aware of this, how it exposed the insecurities amongst people. And then even people in those settings are so insecure because they feel like they have to gain so much to prove to who and to what. Especially if you don't even know anything about spiritual currency. These people are numb. They don't, man. Like I said, to accumulate that and to prove what for anybody. How are you supporting the generations after you? Not just materialistically, but mentally, emotionally, physically, so many different ways. That's what a lot of this balance is going to expose. It's going to expose the hands of people who don't give a fuck about you, me, your kids, and so forth. And that sure as fuck ain't got nothing to do with what somebody look like. That sure as fuck don't got nothing to do with that. Because if you believe that there aren't people, forces, and beings that are right behind these very people, that most likely get paid from these people, paid to be silent. I told you, it's all a part of the world stage, boo-boo. This shit is so funny. It's just, the game is over. Some say the game is rigged. But listen, it's just showing you the corrupted characters in the game. The characters who have gotten so far on their pedestal. And that's, and when you think about a lot of shit, that's as far as they can go. It's on a monetary aspect, because that's all they can do. I mean, does that scare people because somebody has this or that? You know what I mean? People I know with this or that and still looking at the ones who naturally have natural abilities to make something out of nothing. Those are your real magical beings who are going to step into the forefront here. I mean, we really already have. It's already. Chiron and Aries, I realized too, is really going to, a lot of things is going to highlight the wound around monetary things, which people's vocal, again, these transits are going to affect people differently. It can have a great effect on people if they're aware, but it also can have a lasting impression on a lot of people individually who can see past the bullshit, who can still keep going. Uranus and Uranus and Taurus definitely prepared me, like I said, for Chiron and Taurus. Simply because just so much unexpected things allow me to just simply stay in integrity no matter what, or expose where there was inauthenticity, and also not just expose, but expose the energies and people around who wasn't living in it. So a lot of transits prepare you in different ways. That's why I don't get stuck on just one. As I learn more and more about it, I don't get just stuck on one. That's why people, when if you do get readings and birth chart, learning about that stuff, a lot of things, like I said, it doesn't bother me at all that a lot of people, or it doesn't really surprise me that people are coming to certain things. It's the stars, but at the same time, a lot of people don't realize, like, no one individual is bigger than the program, which is the stars, the way the stars align. Because, like I tell you, the same way they can get it is the same way they can lose it. And when the stars shift in certain things, it can be a fortunate or unfortunate thing. I've learned that. That's why it's so good to be on the right side, the upside or right side of things when it comes to doing the inner work, shadow work, being in integrity, because no one can stop the fucking stars from aligning. No one. No one is bigger than that shit. That's why you gotta pay attention to your life. A lot of that shit is placed. Think about this, right? It's so wild because a lot of shit is placed just to literally keep you from focusing on the stars. Our ancestors knew about the stars. Everything. They keep you from knowing that you're in alignment with the stars. So guess what? Then you get tricked out of position and you realize you are a star. That's how you become a star. So a lot of shit want to trick people out of believing, like, oh, this person has this. It's not purposeful. Oh, it's not. What is it? Like, you can't get it. Yes, you can. And it's not. Again, it's not so much of the material shit. It's it's aligning with the stars. I keep saying that, but it's alignment with the stars. This is how I know a lot of stuff that I already have. And when I started doing the natal chart thing and I started seeing what resonated, I'm like, oh man, I see why like so many people were studying this shit and so much negativity was brought towards things. Certain things, again, even the negative aspect when you look at stuff, I just say the distraction around trying to get people not to learn about these things, and the whole time people are. People are. That's why you have people drop certain music, do certain things around a certain time. Shit, I've learned that. It's a vibe. Some people demonize and all like that. And the whole time, again, this whole time when you learning about yourself and learning about different things, you prepare yourself to be in alignment for shit. Then it also, again, the unfortunate aspect with people who think they're bigger than the program or continue to go down this karmic cycle and shit, of course it's gonna have a different effect on them. But there's so many different ways to look at it. And one thing I realized through doing the shadow work or inner work, learning more about myself through this, ancestrally and so forth, I always knew I was gonna be on the upside of things. The less I paid attention to other people and really hone in on myself, it's just like when you master something, the shit is always gonna be, your results are always gonna show up. It's always gonna like reveal itself. It's just like doing this art. Part of this shit is like doing the inner work. I could not do it. I was like, nah. It's something gotta come from this, no matter, and I kept reminding myself, you have to believe. And when you're in alignment, it's always gonna reveal itself through people, because that's why I say the transits affect everyone. So a lot of these things affect people on different levels to where the energies will expose the transits, the influences, the spiritual warfare. So many different things will expose so much around why it is that you're doing what you're doing. A lot of this is like, when I'm doing this shit, is just alignment. And being aligned with the stars, I have so much integrity to around, again, so much has been offered, with learning more about who I am. Not about nobody else, who I am, but also learning through other people too. Instead of focusing on just one certain thing, a lot of transits, again, remind me, like when these things happen, I'm like, oh, I can see why this, I can see exactly why this will happen. Or I could, it's like you could already see how the energy would play out for somebody. And that's why I've learned, like, that's why you cannot stop nothing. Like, if you can't stop the sun from shining and other shit, what makes you really think you're gonna, like, that's why I see how fear is used. Like, what makes you think you're really gonna stop someone's purpose? And especially those of you that are in tune. I've had people come along and try to, it's like they knew. They knew certain things about me even when I didn't know. So that part of me kind of like, sometimes you in disbelief, like, what the fuck is you talking about? The whole time, again, transits, things are, you'll get so much confirmation through people, places, environments. That's things I knew about my daughter just because I was in alignment with it. There's things I knew, like, it sounds wild, but it's beautiful. That's why I say it's things I don't even worry about. Like, some people have fear of leaving the world. I'm like, I don't have no fear for what? It's like knowing that your gift energetically will be shared or passed on to another vessel, that shit is amazing. Like to see what I'm doing actually play out through my kids or that, bro. What? And for them to see it, like my son, he's starting to talk more now, so it's like he'll look at my art, he'll look at something, and, that's daddy, you know, say certain things. So it'd be wild, man. It'd be wild to realize like how much, as you become more in tune or in alignment, how shit is just effortless. It really is just, it becomes so effortless. You don't even. Now, I didn't say easy, I said effortless. Like I said, the stars, when you're on the fortunate side of stuff, it can reveal the unfortunate aspect of other people, but also, that's where discernment comes in too. Because it doesn't just end there. That doesn't mean people can stop what you're doing. It's more so like, I've learned that through everything too. Because then you go into the depths of like the different houses. And I don't know, this is my perspective. I feel like, yeah, everyone's living out a different house in their chart. So when certain transits happen, certain people are living out, like if you know, like I feel like they're living out a different aspect of their life in their natal chart. So for me, I recently saw a lot of things around, I think it's the 12th house. The 12th house where it was definitely revealing to me, I think is it the 12th house or the 8th house? It's one of those. It was revealing a lot of like what they call like hidden enemies. And a lot of things, again, for me, how these energies came up was through certain people. And you would think like it would be someone like who's obviously gonna show you on the surface. Fuck no. Cause again, transits reveal a lot of things. Transits reveal the deep shadow parts of people. That's why when we say doing the shadow work is important, because it protects you and it also prepares you. And if you refuse to see the patterns or to see the loop in the pattern, then your ass will most likely be subjected to something. Influence, others, people's karma. Like I said, I love it because I'm learning more and more about it. Like it really reveals a lot. I know these lines are not as straight. I'm doing my very best. I told you y'all can see those fucking ridges. This shit is rough, boy. You see those ridges. I don't know if I want the line to be a certain way. I'm not even tripping because I just know I'm grateful and someone gonna appreciate just the effort and just, man, how did you do that? So that's a whole other thing. Like I've been realizing like through cycles of things to where I don't have to repeat a cycle or go through karmic lessons again with certain things. I'm very much aware now, like where I'm at and where I stand with myself. But I'll tell you what most people will not tell you. This is a fucking code for those of you who are willing to do this, who are willing to learn deeper about a lot of this shit. Once you really start to get to know yourself, you have people who do talk about this though, but you realize you have to really realize like how much of your responsibility in being aware, how much like it's how much balance you really have to maintain through all of that. like a lot of balance that you have to maintain through a lot of things that people don't talk about. That's why I feel like it's so much of the spiritual community being cleansed because of so much shit. They make it seem like people can't learn on their fucking own or come into their own awareness. A lot of these fucking teachers or whatever they want to call themselves, everybody want to act like they got all the fucking answers. Because I don't at all proclaim to have all the answers. I realize it's the awareness around people still gonna have to go through their own shit. Cause you can have a seminar class, you can do all this other stuff, but it's still, I feel like the importance is letting people know that you're going to fuck up. It's not about being perfect. It's like looking at it like, again, from a place of like a child. Cause all that seriousness shit around certain things on a deeper level, where y'all see me talk about inner child, it's like, lighten the fuck up. Everything is not supposed to be so fucking serious. And I see that more and more as stuff get exposed with the spiritual community and so forth. Like, folks are so like, they purposely, intentionally, and this is where, again, self-sufficiency and people that are not grounded, and I realize Chiron is very much going to reveal that, because it's not so much of just a financial aspect. When you look at everything in layers, you're talking about the spiritual, the mental, the physical, some even talk about the astral aspect, but anywho, on deeper levels, when you're dealing with foundation, your foundation doesn't just, it also begins with those very things I just mentioned. Like, how is your spiritual maturity structure? This is why I realized, like, well, I was mentioning the 8th house, like hidden enemies. A lot, I will say, that will reveal is not only just the spiritual immaturity in people, but the lengths they'll go for power. Or the misuses of power to where they become a hidden enemy. Or seeing your evolution to where, again, you could call it a lover, a spouse, and so forth, but your evolution, your alignment, would expose the very motives that they've been trying to hide the whole time. So that's why you hear people say everyone ain't gonna be happy for your growth. Everyone, oh, them actually look like this actually starts to look like codes now, because those little ridges, I actually like them now. But anywho, so I've learned that, like, it'll reveal the shadow parts of them that they hide, like the different parts of them that they hide from themselves, and that's what can be the danger in a lot of things, to where I tell you how these transits affect people in different ways. That's what can be exposed, or as you become more enlightened, or, you know, your healing journey, spiritual journey, whatever you want to call it. This will be a very thing that's prominent, as exposed, depending on, like, again, this, if you want to call it, what do they call it? Sign, or, you know, that's why I can see how Chiron and Taurus, knowing where I'm at personally and knowing what I've integrated and personally, like, went through, this, again, it's all for growth, soul's growth, and so forth. But it's still gonna have people in a space to where it can have people in a space to where they want more, and then they're wanting more. That's what could be like, they can endanger themselves. And when I say wanting more, it's more so on a greedy aspect, to where they don't realize doing the inner work and how to obtain things a different way, because they're so used to doing a lot of things, or, you know, or in an unevolved way. to where they'll you just never know what people will do. For me, like I said, a lot of things I can't say from a whole different perspective is it's funny because I knew someone that was a Taurus, right? And I kind of already know like how this transit will affect her simply because, and it can in so many different ways. That's why I say it all depends on like people's, because again, Taurus is inner values, like your self-worth, self-value, what else? Like I said, a lot of stuff can be abundant. It's all how and what people's intentions and what intentions that they set around it, you know, and so forth. Like how they want to go about things, how they want to obtain it. And again, it can bring insecurities around that foundation, resources, and so forth. And most of the time, again, it could reveal things that they either didn't know about themselves, or again, as they evolve, it will reveal things hidden in other people. So again, a lot of these things, like, it brings beautiful awareness. But for the most part, we'll say it brings awareness around, like, are you going to fear it or are you going to step into it? Are you going to embrace it? Because it's still going to bring up something and so forth. That's why it's so important to know who you are through whatever the fuck transit it is. Because regardless, everyone's not willing to see the bigger picture, so therefore it would be detrimental to them. Because when they don't see the bigger picture, what we're elevating towards, what things are with the Aquarian age and so forth, the Taurus aspect, like I said, for somebody I know, it will reveal different parts of them. And it can be highlighted differently. Finances, family, foundations, like you have to look at every aspect completely different. It's different for everybody. Some people are going to come into certain things where, again, I know myself already in this energy, but everyone's not in abundant energy. They haven't been consistently in an abundant energy. So that's the difference between greed and other stuff. People don't know what it is to be in abundant energy. They'll say they do, but it's a different perspective to where you're not focused on one set number, one set thing, and so forth. Abundance is just like trying to count the fucking numbers of the leaves on the trees or all the trees. Abundance is like the abundance of water in the ocean. So $1 trillion to me still is like, to the divine, is like, could be looked at like as a penny, or even not even that. But again, the abundance aspect, again, is like everybody don't know what it is to be in an abundant mindset. So again, I feel like it just affects people in different ways. Like I said, somebody I knew, I made a pivot away from them because I just knew we wasn't at, I just knew they didn't have an abundant mindset. And I was at that time in the shelter. They have so many Taurus like energies to where I can it's just, when I say foreshadow or force, it's just like in a way of like seeing how like this is really, it can be prominent for her, but at the same time, if she's not willing to let go of the old foundation. See where I'm getting at? How certain transits can reveal different things, because when I met her, a lot of things were sitting around family, foundation. That doesn't mean she got to go out there and build her own family, like in the sense of like physically. No, it's more so, it's at a different perspective to where those who know like soul family on a deeper level. The more you get to know yourself deeper, you realize like there is people who are on a different level frequency wise to where they will align with certain things. Those who didn't do the inner work, again, this is what's going to be telling in these moments. Because they're not going to be building towards what you're building. And that's why it can be highlighted in the family setting. Even for me, people like assume that I like this is just learning through experience or learning through lived experiences, and realize like as I gradually got on the aspect or wave of abundance and so forth, and then learning the generational aspect of that, it became bigger than material. That's what the divine was revealing. It became bigger than material. It became something that most people really are like they fear, and a lot of it deals with family, it deals with structure. Them not wanting to build stuff that involves other people, and sometimes a lot of people want leadership. They want to be in certain positions. This is not all, but they're not willing to let go of all those material things, because in rebuilding and restructuring something, all of that shit gotta go. So now you've been entrusted with whatever gifts or whatever to build on something that, for one, isn't seen with the natural eye. And so, like I said, people can get distracted by, oh, this person is this, is this, is this, and all like this. But again, is that shit distracting you from what the divine is really trying to show you, what you can build on? You focus on somebody else's world rather than your fucking own. Okay, who said you couldn't become a trillionaire or billionaire in your own world? Who said you couldn't? Who said that? Huh? That made me think about my homegirl, like, well, old girl, like, it made me think about the fact of like how she, again, at that moment when I was presenting her with like certain things, she dropped the ball. And when I say now I'm independent or more focused fully on myself, she gotta see this shit. Like she sit back now. And that's how I tell y'all like how certain transits, when people, you come along and you can be a crossroad for people, or you come in and drop something, that don't mean they immediately gotta be like, oh, I'm all in and so forth. No. Because sometimes it takes them to go on a journey to recognize things and then realize, like, because it don't have to be for them right in that moment. They don't have to accept that. They don't have, because again, at the time, their mindset isn't the same as yours. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself, to see who is like-minded. And at the time, you know, everyone's not ready to go. So this is why I tell you, like this masterpiece, people gonna be left behind. It ain't really much you can change about it. They just gonna be left behind. And it was something like, again, when you meet people, they be like, who the fuck are you? Or not even just who the fuck are you, like, what? You coming along telling me this shit and da-da-da-da-da. And again, this is where, again, people be proclaiming to be so in tune and know some shit and so forth. And you know what ends up happening? They go right against their intuition. Think about it. I've been there. That's why they say certain things are missed opportunities. And where I'm at, like with this, and then that's wild because it was during the Uranus and Taurus. So many different things, unexpected shit. How I met her was so unexpected. She's an artist. She had her own gallery. All this shit. Like, it was showing me everything I knew I was coming into. But I was like, nah, man, we can do something even more greater. But, people got influence. And, this is just lived experiences. Like, I don't hold back. It be real shit. I give y'all real and raw shit, authentic shit, because I know people miss the mark. I can't convince them. Y'all gonna have similar fucking experience, and some of you probably already working through them or will come and realize, like, some people literally miss the mark with you. and then they will have to wait. They just have to go through the same loop again. And even if they had the opportunity to say something, they still didn't say nothing. That's the thing that gets me with people. You sat back and still ain't say shit. Cause I know people be itching to say something. They just sat back and ain't say shit. And that goes with the fact of what they're used to, what they're prone to, what they grew up in, and so forth. And that right there shows the immaturity and stuff. That doesn't mean I'm gonna stop. Cause I'm telling you, a lot of shit was rough. I went in there like I went through a whole thing with her, like, you know, interview. I didn't even know I was gonna get into this, but I went into like we were supposed to do a whole bunch of shit together. Like a whole bunch of stuff. And I know certain things happen unexpectedly, but then I start to see where people start really prioritizing certain stuff. And I don't need it. I had to learn like this is self-worth. I had to learn to see things from a different perspective to realize like this isn't a priority for them. This ain't the time right now. And then that's why I had to also learn like don't take it personal. Just keep building. Just keep building. You have to. Life gonna always show you that people are not gonna be fucking ready. You have to still keep going in whatever direction. I didn't say burn yourself out, but you still gotta keep going towards what it is you know you're gonna do. Cause I know what I've saw. I know what I've seen. And ain't this wild how people will sit back and watch and realize like, damn, I just know he finna do something miraculous. Like sometimes I don't even know if it was like, I don't want to say the person was jealous, but I will say this though. I could tell where they were in their life because at one point in time they were hesitant. And this is what shows you where people are in their journey. They were hesitant to actually do stuff because at a time in my life, they were actually, they thought I had the intentions on because of what they've dealt with other men or other people. And I get it. They felt like I was trying to come in and seduce them or do something to where I was just trying to get close to them and F them or something. I was like, nah, she had people that F her over. I'm like, baby girl, what the fuck? I don't have like, no, at the time I'm in a shelter, but still that don't really mean nothing if you know, because people still will try to find ways to, get in and do certain things and abruptly leave. But again, we didn't at that moment make any money from me putting my stuff in there and so forth. Then we end up she ended up getting new management. That shifted the whole perspective where this person just abruptly came in and she just, which I used to have talks with her and tell her like, yo, you gotta start being more grounding with people. Like set healthy boundaries. And then sometimes you be thinking like you supposed to create something with someone and the whole time you're actually there to receive a lesson from them on a whole nother level other than just you thinking like you're supposed to build something with them. Because that's still building in a way, but I realized like it was also in a way to where I was building my own confidence and I was building towards a lot of things too. And like I said, sometimes people just, not sometimes, but they're not ready. Even when it looks like someone just coming in. But they could have also proved that was, she wanted more. Shit, I don't know. And that could be true. She wanted more than just to build. Sometimes people see you and they can want to build in other ways. But I'm not going to say that is true at all. But I'm just trying to make things relatable to people here. But other than that, like I said, I know for a fucking fact it was a missed opportunity. Because I start to see things like pick up more and more as I start to, again, even through the shelter experience, it was revealing so much because, again, what is it? This is when Taurus is still in, I believe, yeah, Taurus is still in, Uranus is still in Taurus. So a lot of things centered around foundation. I just realized this self-realization. A lot of things centered around foundation was very apparent during these moments. Foundation and that revealed also too why it wasn't solid. So now when you got Chiron, oh my God, it's really going to reveal, this is my perspective from it, it's going to really reveal the insecurities around people or what really isn't solid. Like within themselves, because a lot of that talks about that, like what really isn't solid within people. And I tell you, like, that's why even in the shelter aspect, I was still going, and I've gotten so much insight and stuff to where I know exactly what I'm walking into. Nobody got to know. Because in those moments, it still teach your ass to believe. Even if someone's on some other shit. Like I said, I invested so much to where I was like, yeah, I'm not finna invest more into foundations that aren't necessarily watering me or the reciprocity in that. And I could see that Chiron in Taurus definitely is going to highlight, again, foundations within yourself, insecurities, stability, because Taurus is not just, it's foundational, but again, I keep telling y'all, it's inward. So you got to realize this can be emotional. This can be so many different things, like, again, around foundation. What does that feel like? Safety. These energies come different ways and expose different stuff. And that's why, again, like I said, I know exactly how it's going to affect a lot of people. Just simply by being in my own authenticity, I know exactly how it's going to affect people. People who thought they knew everything about what you were creating. And it's going to benefit everybody. That's why people I don't get so caught up in people want to get back. Man, the transits, if you align with the fucking stars, you ain't gotta do shit. Most of the time, what you gotta do is focus on yourself. But this is really, I already know, is going to collapse so much false narratives around the foundations of finances, home, security, basically, because Taurus is security. So, like I said, this can be a great thing for people to come into more of not just abundance, but what abundance really is in an authentic aspect. Also, foundations, the rebuilding. Land is going to be significant. A lot of stuff is going to be so significant during this transit to where it can be very pivotal. That's all a lot of shit teaches. Like, can you pivot from shit? Like I said, learning that about old girl, she had that perspective. I had to let her know, I'm like, girl, I ain't up on that shit. I'm going through shit as it is. I'm in a whole shelter. But some people there, a lot of shit was teaching me too. Some people didn't even give a fuck if they was in the shelter or not. Ain't that wild? But this is where discipline comes in. Like I said, even with her, if I didn't have discipline and so forth, what she was on, I could have been on. And she couldn't have been on that. So even with that, even being presented with that, I could have been on that. And then created a whole nother situationship, got into somebody else's karma. Again, all these things teach you about the beauty of discipline. And that discipline will carry you a long way into longevity, I would like to say. Because what's also, I feel like, is going to be revealed again, highlighting the fact of how a lot of people aren't building shit, really focusing on the generations to come. And that's where a lot of, divine justice is going to come about. Because all that, I know personally some stuff I don't experience with people to where them not doing the inner work or being focused on what it is I was, like, not so much what I was focused on, but as focused, is that this is why I tell people, this is how people's spiritual rank gets stripped too. Not even just a ranking, it's just like
because it's like a positioning, because they took discipline to get there. That's why I said people can accumulate a lot of money. It took discipline or whatever it is they did to get there, but it's still going to expose the foundation of what it's still really built on. So a lot of people ain't ready to start from scratch. I feel like that's what Chiron really gonna reveal too. Because Chiron and Aries for me, the identity around like especially what I associated myself with, whom I did, and so forth, also showed me how I had to rebuild a whole identity because it exposed so much of what I built around it. So I had to collapse everything, and it collapsed the whole foundation. So Chiron naturally is going to reveal the wounding to where you have the opportunity to rebuild things. And that's why it pays to do the fucking inner work, bro. That's why I say I know where I'm going. And I know what I'm building on. And in that, when you recognize the wound, there's protection in actually healing. People think you got to be scared to walk into, because this is what I was going to get into about the hidden enemy aspect. It's like people going to actually, the divine will actually reveal the people who will have, I guess you can say, ulterior motives. And that's simply because they don't want to see, their insecurities are so loud that they don't actually want to heal the deeper wound within themselves. That's what Chiron is. Bitch, it's the wounded healer for a reason. Because you actually use your healing, your woundedness, to actually to bring healing not only to yourself, but to your lineage and to everyone involved. And when people don't see it as that, shit, man, bitch, you know, what you think you finna get? You think you just finna get a pass? Ain't nobody exempt. That's why I said I don't give a fuck if a motherfucker got a gazillion dollars, if you want to look at it that way. So what? It's still gonna reveal, the stars still gonna reveal their fucking character. Something's still gonna be revealed on the surface. And before you know it, they ain't even gonna exist, because a lot of what the world is moving into is beyond fucking money. It's frequency. It's a vibe. It's in you. It ain't on you. Now, when you start accumulating stuff now where it's like, oh shit, people are really now finna start to see who really is who. When it comes to a lot of exposing, a lot of these trends finna really expose a lot of people, their intentions. And I realized now the ones I didn't want to see, Divine was like, this is why I was trying to reveal to you, my boy. This is why I didn't want you around, such and such. It be yourself, giving yourself like the motherfucker. I'm telling you, I see the destruction before you do. That's what the stars actually reveal. The stars actually see the shit before you do. It's when you can get in alignment with that shit and realize like, oh, because I know exactly what a lot of people going through. And that's simply because of being an observer and learning through stuff. Being on the right side of things, the fortunate side, I would say. So, when I was setting boundaries, they wasn't. Because that shit gonna have your ass setting boundaries. And that's for your protection. Think about people who don't even care for it. The stars ain't gonna protect just because somebody, again, tell y'all, because they have money. They not exempt from evolution. People not exempt from fucking the bigger program things upgrading. You're not exempt. People get too caught up. Oh gosh, she or she got this, and then you. Eventually, time will tell, or eventually, this transit will tell you what people have built shit on. That's why I love the fact of encouraging people. Man, be authentic. The world is going towards that. Be your fucking self. You're going to see more and more people don't even know how to do that. For all you know, there can be robots trying to tell y'all this person has this and this person has that. I mean, haven't you seen Chiron finna expose so much things around insecurity, especially social media? Phew. Y'all gonna really start to see people's true nature out, like, and then it's like the way it comes in is really gonna expose it online too. Cause if they built it online, it's gonna expose it online. I don't know why I just picked up on it, but yeah, it makes a lot of sense. People are gonna gravitate towards what they gravitate towards, especially because of the vibe. So that's why it don't surprise me why people would do certain shit. That's what influence is. And when you realize most people don't know how to think for themselves, what y'all call them, NPCs or all that other shit, you realize people don't know how to think for themselves. They'd rather let someone dictate their life for them. Uranus and Gemini definitely I've been picking up on is the children. Y'all gonna really start to see so much happen around kids. I saw a tragic story about a woman today. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, boy, these energies is not playing. That's why, bro, get to know your fucking self. Get to know yourself. Dig deep. These, oof, boy. Things is real out here, boy. Things are not real out here. I feel like that's all I want to cover, though. That's wild because I brought up that person, but they're Taurus. Well, they carry a lot of Taurus energy. But that makes sense, though, that I'm bringing this up. But notice how I'm bringing this up even when it's like the first day of Chiron entering Taurus. But again, it's not in a devaluing way. It's an empowering way because I'm able to see both sides from that shit. I'm able to realize, like, see the fortunate aspect that I'm in and what could be possibly unfortunate for the other person. And that's not speaking nothing over her life. It's just a possibility. That's just how the stars, like, that's just how shit unfolds. But I'm also looking